together used as a modal expression. એના પછી જુઓ how અથવા what about. Again, not a single word but together used as a modal verb. Can અને could થી તો હવે આપણે ફેમિલિયર થઈ ગયા છીએ. Let us come to the first function for suggestions. શું કહે છે? We use shall we question mark to ask for and make suggestions. સલાહ આપવા માટે જ નહીં પણ સલાહ લેતી વખતે પણ we use this very important expression shall we question mark. તમારી સામે જ સ્ક્રીન પર જ અમુક સેન્ટેન્સીસ આપેલા છે. Let us go through those sentences one by one. Shall we go out for dinner? Now this is a suggestion. આપણે બધા બહાર જમવા માટે જઈએ. This is some kind of a suggestion. બીજો સેન્ટેન્સ જોઈએ. Shall we watch the cricket match? ત્રીજો સેન્ટેન્સ જોઈએ. Where shall we go out for our Christmas vacation this year? If you look carefully at all the three sentences, in all the three sentences, there is either asking for suggestion or giving suggestion. First sentence ma there is some kind of a suggestion that you are making. Second sentence ma પણ લગભગ same વસ્તુ repeat થાય છે. You are trying to make a suggestion. ત્રીજા sentence ma where shall we go out for our Christmas vacation this year? In that particular sentence, it seems that the speaker is asking someone else's suggestion. So friends, please remember this expression again. It is not a individual modal, but it is a combination of two words which perform the function of a modal verb. So remember, this expression is known as shall we. I hope friends, our episodes, our lectures on tenses have already made it very clear. Shall is a modal verb which can only be used with the first person. That is actually the basic vital difference between shall and will. Will can be used with all the three persons. First person એટલે કે I and we. Second person એટલે કે you. Third person he, she, it and they. Will can be used with all the three persons, but shall can only be used with the first person. એટલે આગળ આપણે ઓફર વખતે આપણે જોયું that shall I, તમે ઓફર કરો છો કોઈને. જ્યારે આપણે સજેશનમાં આવીએ છીએ that time we have the expression shall we. But I don't need to remind you that both I and we belong to the first person. I is of course singular and we of course is plural. You cannot use the expression shall you, or you cannot use the expression shall they, shall he, shall she. Those expressions are not allowed. Not only as modal verbs, but even otherwise, these are grammatically wrong expressions. All right. Okay. After having taken some few first function rather of the modal verbs for suggestion, let's come to the second function. Let's see on your screen. We can also make suggestions in the following ways. આ બધા પ્રકારની એક રીત છે. These are different ways in which we can make suggestions. Make suggestions એટલે સલાહ આપવી. Let us look at all these things. Let's attend the New Year party. Let's. Please do not spell it or write it as let us, which is wrong. It is always written the way it is written on your screen right now in front of you. L-E-T apostrophe અને પછી s. એનું આપણે જેને કહીએ સંધિ વિચ્છેદ નથી કરતા, એમાં let and us, that is a wrong expression. It is always used like this: let's attend the New Year party. All right, please do not separate it and bring it together as let space us. All right, come back to the screen. Let's go for a movie. આ એક first way થયું, આ એક first પ્રકાર થયું wherein we can make suggestions. Let us see if there is some other way in which we can make suggestions. All right, why don't we take a break from work? ધ્યાનથી જુઓ મિત્રો તમારી સ્ક્રીન ઉપર. Why don't we take a break from work? This is not a question. This is a suggestion. તમે કોઈને સલાહ આપો છો. All right, this is not a pure and simple question. Similarly, second sentence ne juo, why don't you buy a new car? All right, why don't you buy a new car? Again, this is not a clear question. તમે કોઈને પાસેથી માહિતી નથી માંગતા આ question પૂછીને, but you are making it very clear. You are giving a suggestion. Why don't you buy a new car? All right, let's go a little further. ફરીથી તમને જરા સ્લાઇડ ફેરવીને, this was the first way, let's. Okay, we are making we are looking at various ways for making suggestions. This was the first way, let's. Second way કયું આવ્યું? Why don't we અથવા why don't you? ત્રીજા way ઉપર આવીએ. How about visiting the museum this evening? All right, how about visiting the museum this evening? Again, look at your screens and look at the question, look at the sentence carefully. How about visiting the museum this evening is not a straightforward question, but on the contrary, it is a suggestion which is being made. Many questions do begin with the word how, but this particular question here is not a question, it is a suggestion. Look at the second sentence on your screen. How about inviting our friends for tea tomorrow? Again, this is not a plain question, but it is a suggestion that you are making to someone. Again, I'll go back to the slides. These are the three ways in which we have made suggestions. Let's નો ઉપયોગ કરીને, why don't we અથવા why don't you એનો ઉપયોગ કરીને, how about એનો ઉપયોગ કરીને. Three ways in which you make suggestions. આગળ જઈએ. Function number 3. What does it say? We use can and could to suggest possible actions. Actions haven't begun. Actions are not going on. But there is a possibility that a particular action can take place. However, there is a little amount of uncertainty here. This is just a kind of suggestion you are making. આવી પરિસ્થિતિ છે તો આમાં XYZ વસ્તુ થઈ શકાય. That is the kind of possibility which you are trying to suggest with the help of can. Let us go back to the screen and let us see the sentences. We can go for a picnic if you like. If you want, tamari ichha hoy, we can go for a picnic. But again, this is not showing ability. Please do not mistake this sentence as displaying ability. This is clearly a sentence that is giving us suggestion. All right, look at the second sentence on your screen. We could have the party at home itself, બીજે બહાર જવાની જગ્યા નથી. We could have the party at home itself. Again, this is a possible action. એક એક્શન જેની સંભાવના છે. Alright, but this is not a surety. This is certainly not ability. આપણે ફર્સ્ટ એપિસોડમાં મોડાલ્સ એન્ડ ઓક્ઝિલિયરીઝના પહેલા જ એપિસોડમાં we had taken the first function of modals and auxiliaries as ability. And in that particular function, we had really concentrated on can and could. However, right now we are concentrating on the function of making and taking suggestions with the help of modals and auxiliaries. In this case, જે તમે સેન્ટેન્સીસ હમણાં બંને વાંચ્યા એમાં કેનનો ઉપયોગ થાય છે ખરો. However, in these two sentences, friends, do not forget that in these two sentences, can is not showing ability. Can is on the contrary suggesting that this can be a possible action. આ એક એક્શન એવો છે કે જેની સંભાવના રહેલી છે. આ જ એક્શન કરવું અથવા આવી જ રીતે કરવું એ આપણને કેન નથી સજેસ્ટ કરતું. It is simply telling us that this is also one of the actions which is possible. Let's look at these sentences once again on your screen. We can go for a picnic if you like. We could have the party at home itself. If you agree, we could have the party at home itself. I hope this particular part of making suggestions with the help of modal verbs is becoming clearer. Shall we go a little ahead now? Okay, we now come to a very, very important aspect, modal verbs for habits. ટેવ ટેવ બતાવતી, habits બતાવતા modal verbs. આપણા સ્ક્રીન પર કેટલા verbs છે? used to, will અને છેલ્લે would. All right, used to, will અને would. 3 modal verbs with the help of which we will try to learn how to suggest habits. Let's come to the first function on your screen. What does it say? It says we use used to plus infinitive. Infinitive એટલે to. We use used to plus infinitive to talk about habits in the past, but which are now finished. I'll repeat the whole point again. Kindly pay attention. We use used to plus infinitive to talk about habits in the past, but which are now finished. Friends, kindly understand this point very minutely and very carefully. It simply suggests you had a particular habit or someone had a particular habit in the past time, but those habits have now got over. Those habits are now simply finished. All right, I think sentences will perhaps make our job simpler. All right, what is the first sentence on your screen in the red box? Hitesh used to play football in his college days. Hitesh used to play football in his college days. એટલે અત્યારે હિતેશ ફૂટબોલ નથી રમતો કારણ કે કોલેજના દિવસો પતી ગયા છે. All right, look at that explanation in the green box just below the sentence. It's clearly written, Hitesh played football regularly but does not play now. All right. So used to, I'll go back to the function. We use used to plus infinitive to talk about habits in the past, but which are now finished. And the sentence is self-explanatory because it is telling us itself. Hitesh used to play football in his college days. That means he played football regularly earlier but does not play now. Similarly, there are two more sentences. When Aditi was a child, she used to suck her thumb. All right, when Aditi was a child, she used to suck her thumb. Now she has grown up and therefore this habit has got completely over. All right, it suggests a habit in the past time only. In the present time, Aditi definitely does not suck her thumb. Let's come at the second sentence on your screen. Sorry. In my younger days, I used to go to school by bicycle. When I was young, how did I go to school? I used to go to school by bicycle. Today, I have grown up and I do not go to school anymore. Secondly, I do not use the bicycle anymore. અહીંયા મેઇન વસ્તુ જે ધ્યાન રાખવાની છે તમારા સ્ક્રીન ઉપર ફરીથી તમને એ પોઈન્ટ બતાવું. હેબિટ્સ ઇન ધી પાસ્ટ ટાઈમ. યુઝ ટુનો ઉપયોગ આપણે ક્યારે કરીએ છીએ? when we are showing habits in the past time. All right, this is once again some sentences, the same ones